Ray,
Yes.
we're getting new consoles already?
Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We hope it is good. Welcome to another edition of Geeks Who Like Sports. As always, I am Ray Carsillo in rainy Los Angeles, California. Joined my best friend the entire world over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Lee Elias. Lee, how are you doing today?
64 degrees and
Ooh.
sunny here in Philadelphia today, Ray. The most beautiful time of year, which will only last for 12 to 14 days. No, it's beautiful spring atmosphere out here, Ray. Glad it's raining. I'm glad it's raining out there in LA.
Yes. Well, it is a proper spring. We are actually having a season for once. It is raining. It is also in the 60s here. But yeah, we had a little bit of rain last week, a little bit of rain this week. People are like, why haven't I done more comedy shows? It's been raining. So they get out here. So,
oh my goodness. The rain stops comedy, but not firestorms.
Ridiculous.
No, it's just Los Angeles. But yeah, things are nice out here, Ray. The weather has definitely turned. And it's about time. You know, what's funny about the 64 degrees is it's hot here now because we've been in such a cold winter. This has actually been one of the coldest winters on record on the East Coast. And I was out there early. It was in the 50s, and I was kind of sweating. I was like, this is ridiculous. Maybe I'm dressed for winter a little bit. I mean, it's not really. I have like a long sleeve T-shirt and jeans on. It's not that. Anyway, you know, oh, man, am I middle-aged complaining right now?
Yes.
Oh, no. Get off the lawn.
If you want to feel better, I mean, I was telling you before the show, I played pickleball for the first time.
I love it.
This weekend.
I love it.
And 2 days later, and I am still sore.
Yes.
My quads are still on fire, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be 40 in less than a month." So
yes, and I have been there for over a month.
Many months.
Yes, almost 24, but we won't talk about that. It's anyway. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Let's get in the show because we actually have some good stuff going on. We got trade deadlines, we got free agency, we got movements, we got a lot of video game news, which is my expertise because my best friend is the expert, which makes me an expert by proxy, meaning that I listen and you talk.
But you've got some good opinions too. You've got some thoughts.
I appreciate that, man. I'm looking at a Nintendo 64 with a Mortal Kombat trilogy in it right now. That's where I'm from, and that's an oldie.
That is old.
Is it weird that
we are old? We are old.
I was at the house the other day, Ray, and I sat listening to the original Legend of Zelda theme, and I listened to it like 3 or 4 times through. And my daughter was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Living,
reminiscing."
Reminiscing. Of Hyrule.
That's my favorite. My favorite thing on TikTok now is people who rearrange or like use different instruments to play like the Super Mario World Athletic theme or Legend of Zelda or things like that. And I just sit there and listen for a few minutes at a time. And I was like, just all I need is my rocking chair and maybe like an iced tea or something, and just thinking about the good old days.
Good old days, and they were good old days, and the good old days will be here again in 40 to 50 years. But for now, let's talk about the current state of the NHL. After the trade deadline, some very. I wouldn't say there was any earth-shattering trades. Boston will disagree with me on that, but it's.
I was gonna say the one trade that you could maybe talk about is Boston and Florida.
Yeah, that's not as big as people think. That's what I'm gonna say. If you're a Bostonian, it's the end of a major era. I'll give you that. If you're an NHL fan, you know a pretty good player got traded to the Panthers. That's kind of how I look at it. Brad Marchand is not the league MVP here, though.
Correct. He's not even what he once was. But I have to wonder, like Lee, at this point now, with the acquisition of Brad Marchand, are the Panthers the team to beat? Well, are they the favorite to repeat? Basically?
I think they have been the whole season. But the thing is I think what Marchand adds is obviously a little bit of experience and a little bit of playoff mentality. This guy hasn't won. He's a guy they'll rally around. Okay. He did win the cup, I believe. Actually, I don't know if he's ever won, Ray. I don't know if he was on the team in 11.
Marchand was on the team in 2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he hasn't won in a while. He'll be the guy that they go to. He is a bit of a money player, so they need that for the playoffs.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they're definitely still the team to beat as long as they've got Bobrovsky in net. I mean, the real question is how healthy is Kachuk?
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, they put together a pesty, group of guys now. But yeah, that can help them win again. But there's a lot of great teams in the NHL right now that could pursue the cup.
Yeah. Marchand was in his 3rd year when they won the cup. So.
Okay. Well, look, I'll say this. So he's older now. Okay. He's an older player. And I'll say this too. This trade was much more significant for Boston than it was for the Panthers. This is Boston, the Bruins saying, okay, we're not winning this year, and we know it.
Yep.
And kind of good on them for understanding this. They're not in a rebuild in my mind, but they are in a transitionary period, and they understood there's no point of trying to win this. Let's get what we can for Marchand and start rebuilding the playoff team that we are, right? Because they might not make the playoffs this year the way they're going. Yeah. All right, but long story short, they know, hey, this is not our year, so they made a decision based on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you can't blame them. I mean, there are a lot of teams. I mean, again, especially we've talked about this ad nauseum now for the East that are on the cusp, or sometimes on the outside looking in. The Rangers lost a heartbreaker. They have 3-1 midway through the second period and gave 3 straight goals to Ottawa, who now they are, of course, trailing by 3 points in the standings. And that's just one of those games that you look back, and if they don't make the playoffs, you can point to like that game with now 18 games to go and be like, those would have been, that's a huge swing where if you win that game in regulation, that's an extra point because they ended up losing in overtime. The Rangers would have 69 points right now, and the Senators would have 69 points right now. Instead, the Senators have 71, the Rangers have 68, and the Rangers are on the outside looking in. I mean, you can't just say, well, it's just one game, but like, there are definitely that was a big game to blow, and the Rangers did not. Kind of similarly, they picked up a couple of pieces, but they're not earth-shattering pieces. They flipped Riley Smith. They sent Riley Smith to Vegas for a prospect and a pick, then flipped the pick to Vancouver for Carson Soucy for defensive depth. It feels more like the Rangers are gearing up for next year than they are to do anything really this year.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the idea is they're going to get down the run here and see what happens. You are very much in play. But I think the look is, are we going to win the Stanley Cup this year? That's what teams are doing at this point. And the Rangers are probably in a position where it's unlikely.
Yeah.
Right. And they know they can make the playoffs, but they had a horrible start, and that can kill your hopes. So we will see. I mean, you're right there, obviously, with Columbus and Ottawa. I'm just looking at the table right now.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of teams still on your heels. I mean, the Flyers are the only team now to have dropped off quite a bit for the hunt. Yeah, they're still in it, but I'm not too hopeful at this point with the way they've been playing the last few games. They may come around and flirt with it a little bit, but they really need to go on a winning streak here, and they didn't do that. The Rangers, though, are right there, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it will be interesting. And the Flyers made some moves. Obviously, you flipped Kuzmenko. You moved some guys around as well. And you guys too. I mean, like you look at around. By the way, speaking of Boston, they flipped Charlie Coyle to the Avalanche, right? Like, you guys sent Scott Lawton to the Leafs, which was a big deal.
That is a big deal. Leafs fans have complained because that's what they do. But Scott Lawton's a tremendous third line center for them, and he was a higher line center for us. So that really does bolster the Leafs. And Scott Lawton is a great guy. You can see this guy's going to be a playoff masterpiece. I wouldn't be surprised if he does a lot of damage in the playoffs for the Leafs. Yeah. And the Flyers just continue to load up on draft picks. I mean, we got a Russian prospect from them, which is going to work well in our system because we're bringing in a lot of Russians right now. But the other thing too is that we got another first-round draft pick, giving the Flyers 6 first-round picks in the next 3 years, including 3 in this year's draft. Yeah, that's insane. All right. Yeah. If you can't get it with Michkov on the team and 6 first overall picks in 3 years, if we are not a Stanley Cup contender in 5 years, someone messed up.
Oh, right? You got to clean house.
Everybody's fired. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, I'm enjoying the rebuild. Michkov is stardom. I mean, you can see it. He's leading all rookies in points and goals. All right. The Flyers they're starting something here. Okay. Unlike Chicago with Connor Bedard, who are horrible, and Bedard is getting really frustrated. They didn't do anything at the trade deadline. I'm looking at the West Conference now a little bit. They need to figure this out. He's at the end of his rookie contract next year.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll tell you what, I don't usually say this. I don't know how loyal he is going to be to Chicago.
I wouldn't blame him if he gets out of there.
Yeah. If they can't figure this out, Like now, someone's going to trade their whole team for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
If because they would probably rather trade than have him to re-sign somewhere else.
Yeah.
But Chicago better do something because he looks pissed.
Yeah.
This kid's not built to lose.
No, and he's not happy. He's not being protected in the lineup in any way. He's just like he is a kid on an island, and Chicago is doing nothing to throw him a life raft, and it is obvious, and it is not. It's tough to watch.
Yeah, I would trade 3 of those 6 picks for him, just so you know. I'm not even talking about how many, by the way, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks. The Flyers have a tremendous amount of picks.
Yeah,
I've never seen this before. I think people in Philadelphia are a little impatient with the Flyers right now, but I'm like, look, Michkov, if you're not happy with that right now in a rebuild, I don't know what to tell you. They're not going to flip around to a Stanley Cup team in 2 years. All right, no. This is a process. You got to be ready for it.
Yeah, no, 100%. But it's definitely interesting to see where our teams are at. And yeah, I mean, Florida, probably the favorites. Want to see what Winnipeg can do down the stretch.
Yeah.
The West isn't as tight. Vancouver, I think that's why it was interesting that we traded as much as we did with Vancouver, because Vancouver's in the exact same spot we are, where they're a point or two back looking in on the outside looking in. And then you're seeing I think Vancouver, what was Tocchet, who benched his best players the other night, trying to send a message because they're not playing well. And at some point, a lot of Vancouver fans, of course, people don't realize how terrible Vancouver fans are. I mean, the 2 riots that every time they lose, whenever they riot when they lose the cup, it's infamous. They literally made a documentary about it.
They did. But, it's embarrassing.
Yeah. But they getting on Tocchet, and it's like at some point, players need to play. Players aren't playing. Tocchet's trying to send a message. I mean, the guy was just the Coach of the Year, Jack Adams Award winner last year.
Yeah,
right. If I remember correctly, I don't think this is on the coach necessarily. No. Also, it doesn't help much like the Rangers that the lineup is changing every other night because of all the trades being made. But
yeah, they're also right there. This is a classic. We were the best team in the league last year. Where'd that get you? Nowhere.
Yeah.
All right. So just play the game. Sometimes this is how you create a team. But there's a lot of high expectations from a lot of these teams on the bubble. But we'll see. I when I look at it, Ray, similar to when we looked at the NFL this year, it's a top-heavy league. I don't think these bubble teams are going to break through and win the cup. I think that your usual suspects, which no one's talking about, the Floridas, the Vegas, right? I mean, you got to throw the Capitals in there right now. Everybody's forgetting the Capitals are like the best team in the league because they're all focused on the goal record, which is always, as of the recording,
which is nine away. Yep.
Which he's going to do this year. And I was looking at the stats again, Ray, talking with one of our producers, Caitlin, because I kept saying the 900. I don't think he can do 900 this year. It's
possible.
Yeah,
it's possible.
I said there was no way, but I looked. It's possible. I'm still going to say extremely unlikely.
Yeah,
because he'll
fall a few short.
Yeah, it's just he'd have to have. So I think he has that 14 goals in 16 games.
Yeah, it's 8,
he can do that. He can.
He could do it.
He can.
Yeah,
but he's going to have a hat trick in there somewhere.
Right. He's going to have a couple of multi-goal games probably because he needs to basically average a goal a game down the stretch.
Well, the other thing that I said too is that 2 things are going to start happening here. No one is going to want to be the team that gives that up on the road. First off,
yep.
All right. I'm talking about when the Caps are on the road.
Mm-hmm.
None of those teams are going to want them to break that in their building.
Yep.
Okay. That's number 1. Number 2 is that once he breaks the record, I don't know what's going to happen. Does he relax? Does he go harder? Because here's the deal: he breaks that record. He's not leaving this year. He's got another year on his contract.
Yeah.
He did say after next season he might go back to Moscow to play. He said that. He actually said that, which was a little concerning to me. But because he said he doesn't need to get 1,000 goals. Which I don't know if I believe or not, but the deal is this: after he gets the record breaker, he's coming back next season. He's going to get 20, 30 goals next season. So the question becomes do you get ready for your playoff run?
Yeah.
And to be fair, that's probably what you should do. The guy had a broken foot this year. I know he's performing like crazy, but you have to start thinking you're a real cup contender at this point.
Yeah.
All right, which no one would see coming, by the way. I predicted
Yeah.
them not to be great this year. I'm
me
shocked by
too.
what they're doing.
Like
Yeah.
they were the second wild card team last year,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly. And
yeah, they're clicking on all cylinders right now. So
yeah,
we will see. All right. Also helps when you're chasing a goal record that usually creates another goal. Yeah, Ovechkin's I think he's just shy of a goal a game right now this season. It's insane.
yeah, and that's
not the
what
season. Just sorry, since he's been back from injury.
Right, but that's what he'll need, and to reach 900. And I think that I think also that too. We talked about it on last episode. Is that at some point? I think with about 3 goals left, you're going to start seeing Gretzky following him.
Oh, he's going to start following him around. Yeah, for sure.
And will that add pressure, right? Like for him down the stretch, right? Will he?
Yeah, I remember when Gretzky was chasing Howe's record. Howe was following Gretzky around, and it's funny because I think we talked about this last week too. That Gretzky talked about. He felt bad. Like he wanted to score because he felt bad that, old man Gordy was traveling around the country waiting to break this record. So we'll see what happens, but it's going to happen. It's exciting. Ovechkin, the real chase now, Ray, is he has the opportunity to do this in less games than Gretzky did, which would really be incredible if you think about it. I will never hold it against him if he doesn't.
Yep.
But he's basically paced with him. I mean, that's insane when you think about it. And he lost a season in the lockout.
Yeah.
It would have been his rookie year.
Right.
But he lost that season. He lost another half season. I mean, Gretzky had some lockouts too. Don't get me wrong. But crazy stuff.
Yeah, no, it's really is interesting the parallels between their careers, and that too. But also interesting, right? Like Ovechkin, a much more prolific power play goal scorer.
Yeah.
Obviously
also not a playmaker too. Like I always throw that in there too. That and this is
not a lot of assists from Ovi.
Yeah,
right? Or not nearly as much as a lot of assists. Actually, a lot of assists, but just not as nearly as many.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that like Gretzky was also passing a lot more than Ovechkin was. I mean, I don't want to take away from the great one. Another thing too is Ovechkin, I believe, 1,600 points now. He's cracking. He's about to crack the top 10 all time in points. And what's funny is I always say this: when you look up above him, just a couple above him, there's another active player in there named Sidney Crosby.
Yeah,
who's kind of quietly entered the top 10.
Yeah,
that's amazing to me. No one talks about that. And then when you go all the way up to number 2, Jaromir Jagr, and you go, oh, wow, this guy's done amazing. And then you go to number 1, and Gretzky is 1,000 points basically ahead of him, just sub 1,000 points ahead of second place.
Yeah.
So greatest goal scorer of all time is going to be Alex Ovechkin.
Yep.
No one's going to deny him that.
Yep.
Greatest player of all time is still going to be Wayne Gretzky by a mile.
Yes. Yes. The new adopted son of these United States, Wayne Gretzky. Not going to get into that, folks. You can all Google that. But anyway. Anyway, moving on now to the NFL. Its free agency has officially gone underway, even though technically we're recording this on March 11th. The offseason does not start until tomorrow. But obviously, basically, teams could start making these contracts yesterday.
Yep.
So everything will be official as of tomorrow, but this is stuff that's in place. Some stuff not really surprising. Josh Allen signs a record deal to stay with the Bills. Justin Fields ends up going on a 2-year deal to the Jets as the QB carousel gets started and starts cycling around. The Eagles,
the Birds,
trade Kenny Pickett.
Yes, to the Browns.
To the Browns. So this is just basically backup quarterback for backup quarterback, right?
There's something else going on there. Howie Roseman's a genius, and no one can deny that. Nobody can deny that our GM is one of the greatest in the game right now. Something is happening if they traded Pickett. This is like in Howie we trust right now. How can you deny the guy?
Sure.
Like you think about. I'm not going to rub this in. Who he brought in the offseason. I'll just say it like that. And he's moving people too. I think we just dropped Slay Jr. I mean, there's a lot of things happening right now.
Yeah, Slay moved, and one of your defensive tackles left. And
they don't stop. Howie does not stop. He knows the window is open, not just open, but wide open. Look, I'm not going to make a bold prediction. I'm just going to say, and Ray, I don't think you would disagree with me. The environment is there for the Eagles to chase for a dynasty. Mm-hmm. Okay, that also means they could never win a Super Bowl again. All right. Yeah. Like I'm not trying to say the Eagles are gonna be a dynasty, but I don't think anybody can deny with the age of that team, that is a in play. That if they continue to execute, they are going to be a dynasty. All right. Potentially with or above the Chiefs at this point. Now, that is not proven. The Chiefs have the championships that we do not have, but the Eagles are going to be good for a while, unless they have some sort of massive championship hangover here.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see, absolutely, as like guys get moved around. I mean, you guys also traded for, I think it was a Kenyon Green from the Texans. You sent CJ Gardner-Johnson there. So you're making some moves. Obviously re-signed Saquon, re-signed Zach Bond. But also interesting, a lot of teams in the division are getting, well, except for the Cowboys, are getting better.
Yeah.
The Cowboys did bring in defensive lineman or re-signed. Oh, I ain't going to say that name. Osa. Oh, I'm sorry. They
Cowboys fans,
Yeah, I can't say that name. That is way too many consonants in all the wrong places. But yeah, like it's going to be interesting to see what happens because with the rest of the league. But yeah, the Dallas has not really done much. But Washington traded for Deebo Samuel with the Niners. Suddenly, now you have another legit receiving threat for Jaden Daniels. They traded with the Texans for Laramie Tunsil, which, by the way, if I'm Stroud down in Houston and watching all of my offensive line get traded away, I am panicking a little bit, right? Like I think half the offensive line in Houston has been traded away by the Texans. So either you're going to draft a bunch of big fellas or you're going to have to go sign some big fellas yourself because suddenly, I mean, this was a bad offensive line to begin with, and it just got a lot worse down in Houston with all the trades they're making. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like, any thoughts on what that's gonna what's gonna happen to CJ Stroud down there?
Like a plan, or you're gonna that kid's gonna be super exposed. And if they're banking in that he's just that good, that's a problem.
Yeah, like it's crazy. But yeah, honestly, bringing in Samuel and bringing in Tunsil, the Commanders, they traded a lot of picks, but they fixed two positions of need, right? A legit number 2 receiver and a legit blindside protecting tackle. And suddenly, Washington, that wasn't far away last year, getting significantly better. And my Giants haven't been quiet, which I'm happy to see.
One direction they could go.
Well, that's also true. At least, especially on the defensive side, right? They brought in Paulson Adebo. I hope I'm saying that right as well. Probably one of the better corners on the market. They picked him up from the Saints on a 3-year, $6 million a year deal. I think those numbers, if those numbers are correct, that might be correct. Those numbers, but a 3-year deal. For Paulson Adebo, has the most broken up passes in the last 2 years. Giants need secondary help. They also brought in Holland, the former safety of the Dolphins, on a 3-year deal at $15 million a year. Arguably the best available safety on the market. Considering the Giants let the best available safety in the market 2 years ago go to the Packers, the same way they let Saquon go to the Eagles.
Yep.
So it feels like they're trying to fix mistakes. They also brought in Chauncey Golston, who are a former Cowboy, as an edge rusher, which is a big deal. Literally making one of your opponents worse, and you get better at the same time. So going to a division rival there.
We know all about that.
Yes. Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But of course, the Giants still have the big problem is that
there's nobody with the ball.
Yeah. Tommy DeVito, right now the only quarterback under contract for the Giants. And I'm going to be honestly, everybody's talking about now that Justin Fields went to the Jets. Do the Giants go Aaron Rodgers? I hope not. Do the Giants go Russell Wilson? I hope not. I'm honestly, like, if this is a tank year, if this is a year where the Giants, again, if the Giants don't take a quarterback in this year's draft,
well,
right?
You're going to. Let's just be honest. That's what you're going to do. Like, we don't.
They might not.
I don't know how you can afford to tank again. I'll be honest with you. This was the tank year. You just went through the tank year.
The problem is that after Cam Ward, this is one of the worst draft classes for quarterbacks in a long time. As we've been saying, Shedeur Sanders, drama queen, that's been coming out. A lot of teams now are starting to get real hesitant about him because getting a little gun shy.
I think that's exactly who you're going to draft. I'm just going to let you know.
Please no. Please
I
no.
think that's exactly who the Giants are going to draft.
There is a possibility the Giants trade back and could, if the Giants wait for a Quinn Ewers or a Jackson Dart in the second round, I can live with that. Or even move back up into the top 20, top of or back half of the first round, right? Like trade for their second round pick. I'm okay with that. I'd rather have a Quinn Ewers or a Jackson Dart later in the draft than spend the third overall pick on Shedeur Sanders that everybody now is talking about, just that this kid is going to be a headache. We just got rid of headaches. Like, all we have is headaches.
That's exactly what you're going to do. Because of the power and the star power that comes with it and the hatred. It's a total New York move if they do that.
Oh, God. Let him go to Vegas. Let him go to Vegas. That's what he wants. That's what I want. Let him go to Vegas.
Yeah. I don't think so, buddy. I think the Giants are going to draft him. We'll see.
We will see. Other fascinating moves. The Bears. You get your franchise quarterback. Another one you think in Williams. They traded and signed for 3 offensive linemen: Jonah Jackson from the Rams, Joe Thuney, the All-Pro guard from the Chiefs, and Drew Dahlman, the former Falcons center, signs a 3-year deal. So suddenly the interior of that offensive line got much better, much quickly for the Bears, at least on paper, if everybody stays healthy. Because, oh my goodness, Justin Fields stunk. No, Justin Fields was running for his life his entire career. I actually think him going to the Jets, I wanted Justin Fields. I think if Justin Fields gets a legit chance, I think Justin Fields is actually going to be a good quarterback.
Yeah, we've seen that happen before. You move around, you get the right people in front of you, good things happen.
Yeah. So the Vikings giving up on Sam Darnold. He's going to the Seahawks, who traded Geno Smith to Vegas. I guess there's just a lot of teams that are just looking to be happy at 9-8. I guess
just different cultures, different fits. I mean, I think the league is changing. When you think about what you want behind the ball, there's a certain attitude I think people are looking for, and if you're not bringing that to the organization, they're going to move you.
Yeah. And problem child finally wrapping up Hassan Reddick going down to Tampa Bay after basically just sitting out the whole year for the Jets because who wants to play for the Jets? I think he'll thrive in Tampa, honestly.
He might. Yeah.
If he gets his head out of his butt. And former Eagle, we need to mention Josh Sweat went to Arizona, which is a great upgrade for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So a lot of moves, 48 hours of free agency, a lot of moves already in the NFL. But I think, Lee, to your point earlier, I think the Eagles are still probably Eagles and Chiefs are still the teams to beat.
Yeah, easily.
Detroit, if they stay healthy, pieces
that we have that other people don't have. Yeah,
no, exactly. It's gonna be interesting. We're a month plus away. What, about 6 weeks away? I want to see what. Let me double check the draft. 2025 NFL draft. It's always in April. 6 weeks away. It's right after WrestleMania. Ooh, it's gonna be Lambeau Field this year. Green Bay is hosting the draft this year, April 24th through the 26th. So that will be interesting to see what happens there. I really don't want Shedeur Sanders.
You're going to draft Shedeur Sanders. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Oh, God. Take Travis Hunter.
You're going to draft Sanders coming to the Giants.
Or I would love it if Abdul Carter falls to us at 3. That could happen.
We'll see. We'll see. It is possible.
I really do think this is the report. Teams are starting to get gun shy about Sanders because he is, as anticipated, a circus is going to come to town.
Of course, and that's exactly what the Giants need right now.
Oh, God, that is
you need
not
anything to distract from last year's Hard Knocks.
Yes, where we basically killed the series.
Hard Knocks.
We killed Hard Knocks. They're going to college now. After hanging out with the Giants,
we're going backwards. Well, if you hang out for a few more years, we're gonna have Pop Warner Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the nightmare business, kids. All right, you're 12. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Listen to me.
A couple other deals, even though they don't have a quarterback yet. DK Metcalf traded by Seattle to Pittsburgh for his slew of picks. And also Devontae Adams, now a journeyman receiver, going to try to resuscitate his career with Matthew Stafford and the Rams. So, so an interesting, fast and furious free agency.
Yeah.
Oh, and Daniel Jones is now a Colt.
Yay.
He went to the Colts.
Wow.
So he's going to go back up there. Anthony Richardson. Yeah, well, the Colts don't know. The Giants are rough, but the Colts don't really know what they're doing. They're not doing much better either.
Well, you better hope to God Daniel Jones doesn't show up with another team and kick ass, because that's going to.
I don't think that's
rough. I don't think so either. There's nothing to prove that would happen.
Yeah, no. Like, again, what last year proved that he was a large part of the problem. Because everybody was like, offensive line. And then the Giants, for most of the first half of last year, had a top 12 offensive line until some injuries started to pile up. And Jones still stunk the place up.
Yep.
We talked about that a lot. Moving briefly now into baseball. A little bit of baseball news. Officially, the season gets started next week.
Yay. Phillies are having a great preseason, which means absolutely nothing.
And the Yankees went from being favorites to win the American League again to now being in a dumpster fire.
Oh, no.
Season-ending injury for Garrett Cole, our ace. Luis Gil likely out for the first half of the year. Giancarlo Stanton likely out for the entire year. DJ LeMahieu likely out for the first half of the year. And now, the Yankees' depth is going to get tested because, Garrett Cole's going to have Tommy John surgery at 34 years old, which is not good. Luis Gil with a rotator cuff injury. They're going to shut him down and see if he can't bounce back without surgery. The Yankees lose their number 1 and number 3 starters before the season even gets started. I'm still not worried that much about the lineup. I'm not going to lie. I know what Stanton did in the playoffs last year, but I think offensively, the Yankees did good enough with Bellinger and Goldschmidt, and they obviously got Jazz Chisholm coming back. I think they've got enough depth in the minors. I will worry about our pitch. We still have more pitching than the Mets. Even with all these injuries, we still have more.
But Ray, the Mets made a big signing, so now they're going to be great.
They made one big signing.
You got to think like a Met fan for this one.
No,
they're going to win the World Series now.
No, because the favorites obviously are the Dodgers.
What are you talking about, Ray? They bought the greatest player in baseball history. Are we talking about the Dodgers or the Mets now?
Well, I was going to say the Dodgers. You can make that argument. But
by the way, guess who's pitching this year?
Yeah, Shohei.
On his rebound year when he had to recover from injury, in which they won the World Series.
After putting up a 50-50 year for the first time. Yeah.
He's only at about 80% last year.
Yeah. So, but next week, in baseball, to be fair, they're pulling out all the stops for the launch of this year's season, right? MLB The Show drops on the 18th. It's also the first official game of the year. They're doing a 2-game series in Japan again, the Dodgers versus the Cubs, because you'll have 5 native Japanese players combined between the two teams playing, which I think is a great thing to help grow the game and continue the growth of that relationship between Japan and the U.S. in terms of baseball. And Shohei. Baseball, Emily, we talked about Pokemon Go. MLB now doing a thing with Demon Slayer, which, of course, is a big anime.
Yes.
And Shohei's now in
Fortnite. He is bigger than Godzilla, who is also in Fortnite.
Yes.
It's pretty cool, actually, man. Not the first time Fortnite has done pro sports figures. They did this thing with the NFL a few years ago. Yeah. But Shohei Ohtani, look, give the MLB credit. They know where the kids are. And that's exactly the demographic they need to bring into the game.
100%.
So anybody rolling your eyes, first time, Fortnite's not for you.
Right.
Speaking of all, I don't have a problem with this. I like when these two worlds collide. It's like a Geeks Who Like Sports paradise.
Yes. Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. Perfect sense.
Yes.
Yeah, like you said.
What they should do is bring Babe Ruth into the game. That would be, can you imagine him just hobbling? Oh, no. What are you drinking? Dogs. Oh, no, it's just a shield. It's not what you think it is.
Oh, goodness. But yeah, look, it's true. It's how do you got to go where the kids are if you want to start growing the game, because baseball for years has seen its audience size shrinking and they haven't been able to replenish it with new fans. So this is a great way. You get the biggest player in the world
Yes.
as part of the biggest game in the world. You start parading him around the world. And yeah, this is how you grow the game.
Yep.
Like, it might take a little time, but this is a good start. And as much as I hate Rob Manfred, whoever signed off on this was smart to do it. I think this is a good move for baseball.
Well, it's going to be good. And the new season launches soon. So it makes sense.
100%.
Shohei Ohtani. Now, the question is, he's going to be using weapons. That'll be interesting.
Well, I mean, he'll be using baseball bats.
I hope so. That'd be funny if you could beat someone with a bat.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there'll be something like that. And again, it'd be crazy not to use that in the game.
Yes, the weapon.
Yes. Oh, goodness. Speaking of things,
just don't bet on anything, Shohei.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, no.
Bet on yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Don't suddenly get into all these Fortnite World Championships or whatever and start putting money down on the people playing as you. It'd be bad. But speaking of things coming over, speaking of Japanese imports, a lot going on in the gaming world in terms of a lot of people are up in arms because there's been announced there's probably going to be another hike in with new console. Part of the reason why Nintendo has not announced the Switch pricing yet is because of, and I don't want to really talk too much about the real world stuff, but because of there's a lot going on, obviously, in tariffs. If you're of a certain age, you're probably hearing that a lot in the news right now. There's a lot going on with things of that nature. And a lot of the physical games, a lot of discs come from Mexico.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of talk in the gaming industry that at least if you enjoy physical media, this actually might expedite the transition to digital media now only for games, because you're going to start to see a difference possibly in price on a game that's being digital only versus if you want to buy the physical edition. Lee, will this possibly be the death of physical media in games, or at least expedite it? Because we've been predicting this for years.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah,
I mean, of course it's all going the same direction, dude. Yes. I mean, that's my quick thing. This is how things tend to die, right? They gouge you for as much money as you can. They'll get all the traditionalists as much as they can, and it'll just disappear one day.
Yeah.
You buy a cable box anytime recently, Ray? No. There's a reason for that.
Yep, 100%.
30 years ago, you would have paid anything for that.
That's true.
All right? 20 years ago, we would have probably better. 20 years ago, we would have paid anything for that. 2005, you would pay $150 a month for that then.
Yeah. Yep, still paying for it now. No more.
No, I don't have any cable boxes in my home.
No. I have my Wi-Fi, and that's it.
Yeah,
and my Xbox.
You have your few $100s in subscriptions now.
Well, yeah,
they find a way to get it out of you.
They get it out of you. They just get it out of you in different ways. Yeah. That's even with Netflix with all the live stuff, right?
Yeah, those prices are going up right now.
Yeah,
tariffs on digital media.
When they figure out how to do that, they will do that.
Yeah,
but and that's part of the reason why Nintendo hasn't announced their new console price yet, is because they're kind of trying to see, because you're still going to need a console. Well, to a degree. For Nintendo, you're still going to need a console. Although now, both Sony and Microsoft have also said, "Oh yeah, we got more consoles coming." Yeah. In fact, it's been announced that Xbox will be doing a handheld.
Yes, it makes sense.
Possibly be doing a handheld this year. Again, it's all rumors and speculation. But Xbox looking at a handheld this year and a whole new console in 2027, and also the PS6 looking possibly at 2027. So at least one more generation of physical consoles.
Again, there is not going to be that much updates on these systems, people, and you're going to be had. I'll tell you right now, they have not even got close to using the full power of the current generation, and they are going to do this because they know they're not going to do it again, and they're going to get all these traditionalists for all the money that they have for a slightly better version of what they have now. Yep. Classic business. The handheld stuff makes sense. I'll tell you why, because the secondary market is rampant with handheld options. Razer Kishi, everyone's making something where you can play Xbox on your phone or Xbox portably. So yeah, Xbox, Microsoft, they're not going to wait around. They're going to give you the official one. That's what's going to happen. Nintendo led the way with this, as they always do.
Yes.
All right. And now that the secondary market's making millions and billions of dollars, they're going to jump in too.
Yeah. No, 100%. I mean, the Switch 2 is going to.
It's such a missed opportunity.
I know. Not to call it the Super Nintendo Switch. I know.
Stupid.
Ugh.
We don't want to be mismatched with that. No one would do that.
No, not this. It's not Wii and Wii U.
No.
Like that's different. Like they completely dropped the ball with that. But
yep, I agree.
Yeah, but this was another missed opportunity. But anyway, it'll still work out for Nintendo because it almost always does because they know gamers better than anybody. Definitely more than Microsoft, Sony.
They are the best. They're I don't know if it's fair to call them the Apple. I think that Microsoft is probably the Apple because they tend to find things and perfect it. To be fair, I'm trying to think. What would you? Nintendo's Nintendo. It's just uniquely Nintendo.
Yeah.
I don't even like to compare it with anything else.
No, it's really hard to. Yeah. So, last thing for the video game and geek section of this week, I played a game called Avowed.
Wait. It's time for a Ray review. Ray is going to give us his review of a new game that he played this weekend. Ray, a 72-year veteran of the industry because he's lived multiple lifetimes because he doesn't sleep. His reviews matter, and they're mattering to you. So here is your Ray review.
Yes. So I played a game called Avowed over the last couple of weeks. It took me about 60 hours to beat. It is a brand new fantasy RPG from Obsidian, who, of course, have brought us games over the years like Fallout New Vegas or The Outer Worlds. A very well-known RPG developer. And I would say, and I haven't played every Obsidian game that's ever been made, of course, but I will say Avowed is probably one of the best. Whoa. It takes place in the Pillars of Eternity universe. But unlike that game, which of course is more of an isometric RPG, kind of like a Diablo or an old school Baldur's Gate from that top down view, this is like Fallout or Outer Worlds, where it's first or third person, but it's a high fantasy world, and I think it is a beautiful world that they have crafted here. This island inside the Pillars of Eternity world, you play as a new character. For those who don't know, in this universe, there are things called godlikes that are basically in the womb, people who were born, but they are touched by gods that bestow upon them certain powers, right? And you are born.
Not us. Got it.
Correct. Yes.
Not us.
And you are born, you are a godlike, but you don't know what god you are part of or who is your benefactor. And of course, it is kind of this journey of discovery and also a new world and also the seedy underpinnings of what's going on underneath and the conspiracy of having to choose. Will you side with your home country, or will you choose to side with your adopted country that you end up coming to over the course of this game? I was absolutely shocked at how much I love this game. I thought it was going to be good, but it was great. I felt like any good RPG, I felt like my decisions mattered. I felt like there was a lot of weight to them. I liked that not everything had a good or bad decision, that not everything was black and white. There were many instances where you just got stuck with two really crappy decisions. Like no matter what, somebody was going to die or whatever, right? Like you have real gray decisions here and you don't know. And like even in your party, some of your decisions, some of your party members would like them based on their politics and their upbringing, and some people were going to not like them. And balancing that all out and understanding that there's no right or wrong necessarily. It's more just based on what you think is right or wrong. And you shape the world based on that. Plus, the combat was a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie. First-person fantasy magic. And I got I called in, I had a familiar. I could call in a bear, a spectral bear to help fight alongside me. That was a lot of fun.
Did you name the spectral bear?
It comes with a name. I think it's Roy Van or something. It has its own name already.
It could have been Fluffy. That would have been cooler.
That would have been fun.
Fine.
But yes, they would not let you name the bear. Fine. Points off for not being allowed you to name the bear. No, I really enjoyed, and I used a sword and shield, but you could use a wand and a grimoire. You can use pistols. You can use blunderbusses. You can use there's all sorts of things, and you have different loadouts. And I think they just give you a lot of options. I mean, I think the only sad thing really is that they give you these massive spec trees that you can put points into, and it's very hard to be a kind of all around. Like you kind of have to, if you want to get the full brunt of one of these trees, whether it's a fighter, a ranger, or a wizard, you gotta have to dedicate yourself to it.
Yeah, that's kind of old school when you think about it. I mean, what that reminds me of is what was that game we played a long time ago? Oh my god, I'm blanking on it. It was on N64. It was also in the arcade. You know, there were obelisks. You could pick a wizard. You could pick
Gauntlet Legends.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know how I couldn't remember Gauntlet there. But like you were who you were in that game.
Right.
Right?
I mean, there's some flexibility here, right? Like I was probably more of a warrior ranger, but definitely like the wizard tree definitely like suffered because of that, right?
That's fine. Gauntlet Legends. Wow, what a game.
Yeah, that is a throwback. That is
but am I wrong though? Like, you know, old school games, you were what you were. There was not.
You pick the class and then you kind of that's it. Like and I think for this, like, I think you can get away with picking like two classes. Like I think I got what I wanted when I split it between Ranger and Fighter, right? Because again, as a Ranger, I was able to call in I was able to lay traps and call in my Spectral Bear, but as a Fighter, it really kind of boosted. Again, I used a mace. I used one-handed weapons and shields primarily, so I had like a mace and a shield or a sword and a shield. And then if I really wanted to use range, I had a lightning pistol and a fire dagger that I would use sometimes, but I didn't. That was if I needed to get in and quick, like real strike very quickly, because without a shield, you leave yourself very open, obviously. Right. So defensively, which is not particularly my play style. I play strong defense and then block, parry, whack with a big old mace.
So give us the number, Ray, and I have a question for you.
Yes. So overall, at the end of it, I love the voice acting. I love the writing. I love the world. Again, I put 60 hours into it and beat it and did basically everything I could on one playthrough. Right. For you to get every achievement and every ending, you would need multiple playthroughs. But I was very happy with my playthrough. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Wow, that is a high ass score, man, from you. That's Game of the Year worthy score.
I mean, obviously, we're only 2 months into the year, but I will be shocked if Avowed does not end up in the Game of the Year conversation for me.
Yeah, well, you just put it in that, to be honest with you. You are the authority. Wow, 9 out of 10, that's humongous praise. There's games that you have not given that I thought were really good. All right, very important question for me. It's a Geeks Who Like Sports question. You're talking about walking around with axes and the block, attack. Ray, in the RPG that is real life, what class and weapons would you be walking around with?
I mean, I'd be like a berserker barbarian, and I would probably be using, I'd probably be using like clubs and
mallet.
Yeah, a mallet.
I can see you with a mallet.
Yeah, some kind. I mean, there are a lot of there are both one-handed and two-handed hammers in Avowed.
Yes.
I would probably prefer a one-handed hammer over a two-handed hammer.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely. I think that works. Definitely fight berserker barbarian with the hammer.
My weapon would be the soapbox that I would stand on and lecture people. And then I wouldn't
like a bard.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call a spectral bear. I'd call my spectral Ray with his weapons that you just described. You would just defend me.
There we go.
And then if you got too close, you probably shouldn't do that, because I probably do have some sort of magical powers that could just destroy everybody. I think I'd be more of a wizard kind of person.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I could fight if I need to, but I only have one working shoulder in this real world RPG, so maybe I have a bionic arm actually now. But yeah, I'll be on my soapbox just lecturing people. That's what I do. People love it when I lecture them, right? They love it. They look at me. In my world of RPGs, the eye roll is actually a sign of respect. So a lot of eye rolling and a lot. Yeah. See, thank you.
I'm giving you your flowers.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend. Okay. All right. No. I wanted to ask that. It's a fair question. I could see you walking out with a hammer.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, yeah.
A hammer. Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. But yeah, it was a great game. It's on Game Pass.
Yeah, 9 out of 10 is praise from you, man. That's really.
I mean, it's on Game Pass.
Yeah, it's free. Well, it's not free.
Play it. But if you have Game Pass, you should play it. Like
Are you trying to get me to play it? Is that what you're saying to me?
I mean, and I'll say that, and Obsidian also does hit Outer Worlds 2 later this year. I mean, what a great year! Like Obsidian in the last 5 years, like Microsoft has made some big acquisitions that haven't paid off. But that is an acquisition that has absolutely been paying off in spades for them.
It's few and far between nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely.
Matt, geez, Ray said it again. 2025 handheld, 2027. Not as far away as you think. It is actually 2025 right now.
Yeah.
I look at 2025 and I'm like, oh, that's coming up, and it's like, no, Lee,
No.
it is 2025. All right, 27 is not that far away. We are closer to 27 than 2020 or 2021. Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, today is March 11th.
Yes.
Do you know the significance of the date? This is going to freak you out.
Not offhand, no.
5 years ago today.
Oh, God.
COVID officially began in the United States.
That's right.
5 years ago, half a decade ago, COVID began.
Right.
The NBA shut down everything 5 years ago today. The CDC officially named it what it is. Incredible.
Within a week of that.
Yeah, the whole world,
like everything. Yeah, because I remember
creeping across Europe. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember when that happened, and my immediate instinct wasn't to get toilet paper, wasn't to get water.
There's a lot of other people that did that. Luckily, we had plenty.
Yeah, I bought a new TV.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I bought a new TV and I bought MLB The Show and I started streaming.
And you started streaming. You made the best of that situation.
Yeah, because I'm like, we are going to be stuck inside for a year. I'm getting a 65-inch TV from Best Buy.
It was more than a year when you think about it.
Yeah.
But wow, 5 years ago, that started, and I will never understand the toilet paper thing. I just monkey see, monkey do 101 right there. Just did not make any sense.
No,
made no sense. There was the initial panic of people doing that, and then the secondary panic of, well, if they're all doing it, we're not going to have toilet paper.
Right.
Just America.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Oh man, what would we do without toilet paper? What did they do before toilet paper? All right. Well, that ends another great episode. But yeah, 5 years ago, I wanted to give a nod to that because, look, somber note, a lot of people were lost via that disease. And I don't want to ever forget, that the suffering that families had gone through. I also like to say too that we did survive this. We did push through this. And there were days you thought that would never happen. And I don't think, and this is why I'm bringing it up, I do not think, unfortunately, with the landscape of the world right now, that we give ourselves any breathing room with this. And it was a big deal that we were able to get through this, find a vaccine, find a way to get that over with, and move forward as humanity. It's not a United States thing. I wish we'd do more to do that.
I think we're still feeling the effects of it from a psychological 100%. Standpoint.
Oh, you will for decades. But I'm just saying that, we are past the disease part of it now. And I think that we all kind of are conveniently ignoring what we went through, which is a little weird, but we're definitely still feeling the effects of it.
Yeah.
All right. But it will reverberate for decades to come. And, it's funny. It's in history books now. Again, they get written all the time. It's part of history now. And so anyway, 5 years ago, this marks the date. The show is older than that. So,
Yeah. Ha.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Unbelievable.
Yes.
We survived.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah. Play Avowed.
Play Avowed. 9 out of 10.
Yeah. Really.
Coronavirus, 0 out of 10. Don't recommend.
Yeah, do not recommend whatsoever. But anyway, on that note, quick show this week.
It's okay. It was a good one.
It was a good one. We're going to take a week off.
Yes.
Because Lee's busy.
I have to do my coaching stuff. I can actually be the coach out of the authority on sports, right?
Yes.
Ray's going to play another game while I'm gone. There we go.
I mean, we got a big couple weeks. We got the new Assassin's Creed coming out next week.
In which I'm guessing that you go around assassinating people again.
I would imagine.
When does it take place again?
It is in feudal Japan.
Ooh, actually, that's going to be really good. Yeah.
I hope so. I hope so. But yeah, that comes out next week. And the new MLB The Show drops next week. So
yes, which will be playing baseball. And the Fortnite characters are coming to MLB The Show, right?
Also coming.
I gotcha. I got it. Right. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, just Shohei.
Yeah, just Shohei's going to Fortnite. It's a one-way right now. It's a one-way street. So I do not see the Fortnite characters coming into baseball.
Ray's going to win the World Series with the Yankees about 12 years in a row in 1 month. So here we go.
Yes, I will fix the Yankees despite all their injury problems. I will find a way and do what Brian Cashman refuses to do because he should have been fired years ago.
Good night, everybody.
Fire Boone. Fire Cashman. Good night, everybody. For Lee, I'm Ray. Again, thanks for watching. This has been Geeks Who Like Sports.